Note. Hey, what's up, guys? Nice to see you.
Yeah, here we are.
We got Reid here with Cordial Curiosity, and my buddy Joe, who's been working on the Street Epistemology website, amongst other things, and Dan the man.
Hello.
Who's joined us tonight. Hey, what's going on? Reid, I just saw that you released the video.
I did, yeah.
Yeah? When did you record it?
Last Sunday, I believe. So.
Do you have a backlog? Are you sitting on a lot?
I do have like maybe over a dozen, but I haven't uploaded yet. I just
No
couldn't find the
shit.
time.
Wow. And they're all YouTube worthy, you think?
Yeah, they're not amazing, but they're YouTube worthy, I think.
That's great.
None of them will live up to Tia, right?
Not yet, no.
Tia was a great one. Yeah, I'm going to be going to Manchester, England to give a couple workshops on street epistemology, and Oslo, Norway after that. And we're going to probably have a table so people walking by can watch examples. And I want to show the Tia one, along with a few other ones. But I think the Tia one would be really cool to show. It's so perfect. It's just so quick, and it's just such a great example of SE.
And being quick would be a good one for a venue like that, where people aren't going to sit and watch for a long time. So here we are. This is a podcast, right?
Yeah, this is a podcast. I just jumped over to the YouTube page, and it looks like we are broadcasting there. And it looks like people are chatting, which is great. I see some familiar faces there too.
All right, so I thought about this already, and if we were Avengers, I would definitely be Spider-Man. I think Reid would be the Hulk, obviously, because of that temper of his. And
yes.
Anthony has the chest cam, so he's kind of got that Iron Man thing going on. And Joe, being the oldest among us, Captain America.
Captain America? I thought you could say Professor Xavier.
Well,
I don't get into those shows at all.
Well, that's why I'm here. So
yeah, you bring up
gotta get that millennial perspective.
There you go. Here we go.
I'm a big superhero nerd.
Well, Joe, tell us.
I'll take Captain America. I'm good with that.
All I know, he has a shield or something. All right. Joe, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing with street epistemology. What's your claim to fame?
I don't want any fame, Anthony. Dude, I don't want the fame.
You do so much for street epistemology. We should.
Well, I got
brag a little bit about you.
Yeah. Okay. I'll introduce myself. I read Peter's book pretty early on. I think it was almost right after it came out, and was obviously impressed by it. And then some time later, you started doing videos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or was it immediate? I don't remember. It seemed like it was a while later, like a year later or 6 months later. And then when if
you skip my whole first year of videos, that's a good thing.
But when I started watching those, and you'd been making them for a little while, but not for a long time, I did have to go back and see the first ones. But when you started making videos, then it kind of kicked me into gear. And even though I had read the book, I wasn't compelled to do anything about it at the time. But it kind of took off, didn't it? And obviously we have Facebook groups now, and I got involved quite a bit, and I found I really feel strongly about this. I want to do something with it. So I've been working on the website. I built the current website. Been involved with some of the projects that have been going on behind the scenes. What else? I'm an administrator on one of the Facebook groups. I don't know, various things. I'm going to be going to QED with you and some of the others, so that'll be fun.
You're helping us get swag to sell and everything.
Yeah, I'm ordering the swag.
basically, whenever we need something technical done with the Street Epistemology website or social media, Joe's usually our go-to person. So Joe
Yeah.
does a lot behind the scenes. That's great. How about you,
That's
Reid?
me.
Tell us a little bit about what you do, dude.
I was just thinking, trying to get the timeline right. I mean, I think I read the Manual for Creating Atheists, the book. It came out in like late 2013, right? So I think I read it that spring of 2014.
Wow, has it been that long?
Yeah, it's been forever. And then I first saw Anthony's videos in December of that year, I think.
When did I come out there? Was it November of 2015?
I think it was 2016, I think.
It wasn't that long ago, yeah.
Or no, it was November. It was 2015.
November 2015. Yeah, I think I remember seeing you giving a talk or introducing a topic maybe at Atheist United. I think it was you. And you were mentioning a couple of your favorite YouTube channels, and you mentioned me, I think.
Oh,
I think that was you. I'm not, was that you?
that might have happened, yeah.
Okay. And I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's like, he's seeing my videos. So that was really cool to see you doing that. And now you have your own channel,
I do, yep,
Your Cordial Curiosity.
I am.
And you just uploaded a video, which I'm really eager to see. I'm going to probably watch it as soon as we're done here. Now your style's a little bit different in that you have more of a sit-down situation as opposed to just walking up to people. You let them come to you.
Yeah, you've tried it out. Like, how do you feel the difference?
Oh man, I was there a month or so ago, maybe 2 months ago, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. The only thing that was kind of a pain was the setup and breakdown.
Mhm.
You know, you have a lot of things. It's heavy. You got to roll it, but in terms of production value and comfort, you're offering water and shade, and you know your cameras are fixed, and your mics are there. So in terms of that, I think it's great. It's probably even worth the extra effort.
Yeah. I think it's
So a chair, water, and shade. What's not to love?
Boom. I mean, it's so simple.
I'm there for at least 4 hours. So an hour.
How long?
About 4 hours or so. So
Mm.
Yeah.
if I do 30 minutes setting up, 30 minutes breaking down, it's worth it.
Yeah. When I go out, it's usually an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours max.
Okay.
And I love it because I can go out and hook up all my cameras and get everything going probably within 5 minutes. And I'm starting to talk to people. And that's kind of nice. Not having to settle that stuff up. I think there's pros and cons. Your situation, you're more established. It's safer. It seems safer what you're doing as opposed to me just out there with a camera and a whiteboard.
Mhm.
All right, Daniel, we've kept you in the wings too long here. Why don't you're muted right now. Okay, yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself.
So depending on who you ask, I'm either a victim or a success story of street epistemology. I was interviewed by Anthony about 2 years ago. It's about to be 2 years, coming up on that anniversary date. And I was challenged on my beliefs. And I went from being a devout Christian to an atheist. And before I get quote mined, because the first thing people always ask is, did street epistemology make me an atheist? And I have to say no. I think Anthony helped me reevaluate my criteria for my belief, my justifications for why I believe things, but he did not directly make me an atheist. I think that was a process, and I think he was a catalyst for that change, but he did not use any form of magic or deceit to just, I didn't walk away being like, well, I guess God's not real now. I was like, no, I need to kind of think about this. And I'm here.
So just a catalyst. He didn't actually beat you into atheism or anything.
Yes, there's a timeline, and Anthony's on that timeline, but he's neither at the beginning or end of that process.
I would be a little worried if you did abandon your belief as a result of a 20-minute talk, because I would think, oh gosh, this guy will just go for anything that he's like maybe Trump, where the last thing that he hears is what he thinks is true, possibly.
Yeah. The funny thing is we never did do any follow-ups or anything, but it did it was a jumping off point for me to go into my own research and go into my own study and discussions with other people and kind of go on that own path. I didn't come back with you until this year and let you know what happened. So
yeah, we did a follow-up. That's on my YouTube channel. It's a great talk. We met maybe 3 months ago or so. We did a follow-up.
like
Yeah, that was cool. And that kills me that you didn't reach out because yeah, I think if we had met a few more times, maybe it would have been a smoother transition for you or a quicker transition for you. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. I know other people have probably than I did, but it was a hard one for me. It was really hard. I definitely became an atheist kicking and screaming. Like I wasn't ready for it, but yeah. So.
Well, we're glad that you're here. And I think one of the reasons why you're part of this group is because you've expressed an interest in wanting to learn street epistemology. You've joined the Street Epistemology Facebook group that's out there. And there are several out there now. There's a main one that has more than 4,000 members. So if you're remotely interested in learning street epistemology, that is a great group to join.
I thought I was invited for my sex appeal, honestly.
You guys want to comment on that one?
No.
You gotta get those listeners interested. So
there you go. So no,
none of us are denying it, so I'm not sure what that
there you go.
means.
Probably
Right.
the best looking one of the bunch.
We'll let the commenters decide.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. No, I'm really excited to see where SE is going, and there's so many things happening. I think Joe had the idea of we should do a podcast where we're just talking about street epistemology.
Oh, was
And
that
I
me?
thought it was your idea. Well, anyways,
I don't remember.
One of you guys suggested it, and the three of us. Hey,
It was one of us. Right.
It was one of you.
I've always
And
wanted to
here
have
we are.
something like this. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's really great. So we're just still testing it out. We're feeling it out, seeing what it's going to be, right?
Yes. I mean, we don't necessarily even have to broadcast this from my YouTube channel. We have a Street Epistemology YouTube account. We can broadcast from there. We have an existing Street Epistemology podcast where we can take this and put it into audio form and just add it alongside the other 173 episodes that are out there on the podcast and make this a weekly thing or a monthly thing, however you want it to go. I mean, we don't have to be also limited to just this 4. If we wanted to bring somebody else on, I think that we could do that. We plan it out and bring it in.
I'm just thinking now, if we do like a format where we want to like review a video,
I'd love to
maybe
do that.
maybe one of us could like provide the video, and if whoever does that, the live stream could be on that person's channel, and we could just section off that part of it.
The person who has the video would have to do the live stream.
Yeah, so like if you wanted us to talk about an interview you did, we would have the live stream on your channel like it is now. Or if I wanted to get feedback on a video, we could do a live stream on my channel.
Mm-hmm.
And we could do like live streams just dedicated to reviewing a video or a few videos.
Mm-hmm.
And then we could have like a separate type of general discussion podcast on like the main SE YouTube account, maybe.
Okay, so you're proposing us running something locally that hasn't been uploaded to YouTube yet from our computer. Is that what you're saying?
It could be a video that's already uploaded or a new video that hasn't been seen before, whichever. But whoever's video that is, that's the channel where the live stream would be. That would make the most sense.
So the live stream would be on that person's channel. Like if it was your video, it'd be on your channel. But once we've done the podcast, it would be recorded and distributed.
Yeah,
pre-recorded form in the main.
Take the audio.
I see.
And put it on the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we'll have to see what the interest is. There might be a number of people that would prefer to watch it live and be watching the video. And in that case,
Yeah.
maybe we want to have the same channel constantly broadcasting it, like the Street Epistemology account.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah. Okay. We can hammer that out, I guess. All right. I don't know if we need to get to show names. We're bouncing some ideas of what we call this, but maybe we can just see if this is something we want to keep doing. And
I think we should ask, if people are watching this, we should have them submit ideas for the name of the podcast.
Yes, I agree with that.
Why not?
Go ahead and submit them.
All we've got is our small list of, not very terrific ideas. I'm sure somebody can come up with something good.
I also think what I'd like to try to do on the show, this venue, is to keep people abreast as far as what's happening in street epistemology.
Yep.
Projects that are coming up, speaking engagements for people. Like, let's say Reid is giving a talk somewhere in California. That would be really nice to mention. Or some of the interesting things that I see happening with regards to street epistemology, people talking about it, people becoming interested in it, people actually using it that you would never expect to be using it.
Reviewing which apologists are writing blog posts about it.
Sure. Talking about some of the criticisms that we're seeing about it. I think we should definitely get into that. I think that'd be great.
So let's make a segment called Street Epistemology News. What's in the news this week or this month?
Bum, 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 bum.
Who's bad talking us?
Yeah.
I was going to say shit talking us, but now see, I've said it. What do we do about the inevitable profanity that comes from me? Are we going to edit that out?
There goes the explicit tag.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know.
I'm sorry. I fall.
I don't really have strong feelings on it, but I'm not sure what the implications would be if we started dropping F-bombs. And I don't mean faith.
Yeah.
Hey, let's just start saying that every time we're going to say the other word. Okay, let's not do that.
Yeah.
Faith you.
What the faith is he talking about?
There you go. Yeah.
Well, I have an interesting video that's in the works. I've been editing it all day. Unfortunately, the woman didn't want her face shown, so I have to. It's tedious to freaking do that. There might be a faster way, but in order to get it right, I want to make sure that it's tracking. And she's moving all the time. She's like rocking back and forth, so it makes it really challenging. But hopefully, I can get that one released tomorrow. And I went out today and I had a couple of good talks, and Reid, I know you were mentioning that you have so many already queued up, and it's not hard to get a talk. What I struggle with is deciding which ones I want to take the time to edit and upload. Do you have that problem?
Do you think you could find an editor? Like, I'm sure
That's
someone
what
would
I
be
said.
willing to do this for you.
Yeah. What would they charge?
I mean, I'm sure if they are supportive of street
$100
epistemology, they would do it for free. Just
Maybe.
something they would like to contribute. If someone's out there.
Yeah, if someone's out there and you're interested in doing that, message me. I could upload the raw video to Google Drive. You can edit it. There's a certain look, and I have little preferences on how that goes. My problem is that I'm very particular.
Anthony's very picky.
Have you noticed that?
Right.
Like the captions need to start exactly when the person talks, and there's a certain format that I've come up with, and color coding, and maybe I need to relinquish a little control in order to.
I think you can delegate and still you can have somebody else do it and then just review it when they're done if it doesn't meet your.
You could give notes.
Yeah, I can give some specifications, right? It has to do this, has to do that. The thing with volunteers, though, that I've noticed is that people are very eager to help. And then you might get 1 out of 10 that follow through. And then that person usually does it 1 or 2 times and then loses interest. Nobody's going to probably care as much as you do. So it's almost easier for me just to figure, find the time. And rather than upload 5 videos, I upload 2. because that's the only time that I have to do it. And I just move on and just keep recording new ones. And I do save everything though. I don't delete anything, because that one video that I didn't upload because I thought it was not good, it's entirely possible that somebody might come back a year later and say that that was a profound moment in my life, you know. So then I have the video footage, so I save everything.
Mm-hmm. It happens.
How many hard drives do you
It
have?
does happen.
I have a box of hard drives. It's right over here. You can't see it. It's off camera. I have 4 hard drives in there. I started getting 1 terabyte hard drives, and then the prices kept coming down, so now they're like 3 or 4 or 5 or something.
Yeah. And you just let the camera roll for like the entire time you're there, right?
Usually when I see somebody heading towards me on the trail, that's when I hit record, but I have the camera pointing down.
Okay.
So you get the very start of it, like them walking by, me making the pitch, them agreeing to it, agreeing to me recording them, flipping it up. I noticed you go right to, hey, I believe in karma. Like you cut all that other stuff out.
Yeah, I just skip straight to it. I mean, if people want to see how to do the rapport, they can go to you for that.
Where's your rapport building, Reid? Where's your rapport building?
I'll take that hit. I don't mind keeping that because I figure, well, people can skip past it. And also, if anyone ever thinks that this is a setup, there's a little bit of additional evidence to suggest that it's real. That this was a real conversation that just kind of happened semi-organically. Like I'm still trying to initiate them.
I think people can see that based on the context of the dozens of other videos I have. Like, am I paying all these actors to do this out in the parks every weekend? Or I don't know. That's kind of expensive. On
Reid's salary? No. Never.
In your situation, a lot of your interlocutors probably are actors.
A lot of them are, or they've got a script they really want you to read.
Did somebody say that you had a conversation with somebody and it turned out that she was just trolling you? I thought.
Well, yeah, the Bambi Ford one.
Bambi.
I'm pretty sure she's just playing around.
Okay.
The character.
Did you take it down, or is it still up?
I left it up just for entertainment's sake on my part, because it's a very unique video.
It looked clear to me that she was not really that person, and I got the impression that she was just sort of taking the opportunity to advertise herself.
If you are in the chat right now, if you know what video we're talking about, if you can drop that in for the viewers, that would be really cool. I'm not looking at the chat. There's a huge lag, and it's very distracting, so I'm trying to avoid looking at it.
Is there any other SE news we should talk about?
Yes, there is. Thank you very much for asking, Joe. So up until this point, there really hasn't been any specific official logo associated with Street Epistemology. People have come up with graphics, and we've been using them on the Twitter account and the podcast and the Facebook entities and that type of thing, which is kind of like a silhouette of a head with like a red swirl on it, which is really cool. But we want to have an official logo, something that we've purchased and that we can put on merchandise so that we can sell some items on Evolve Fish and bring in a little bit of income to cover the expenses that volunteers are incurring by keeping Street Epistemology going. It's expensive to host a website and pay for that recurring fee. Or if somebody needs to travel somewhere and give a talk, sometimes it's like the Secular Student Alliance. They don't have a lot of money. And if there was a way to cover some of those expenses, it would be great. Or like this thing coming up in Manchester, England, October, is it like 12th and 13th? 13th, 14th?
13th and 14th, I think.
Yeah. We're going to have a table, but we need a banner. Well, it's going to cost $100 for a banner. I'm going to pay it. It's not a big deal. We can use it over and over again. But at some point, the volunteers can't keep putting money out. So we want to have a way to be able to cover some of our expenses. And we're going to have a contest. We'll be announcing it on Twitter and Facebook, all over social media, asking people to come up with designs. Probably within the next couple of days, we'll have all the terminology written down, and we'll have a way for people to come up with a design, submit it. It will be evaluated, and then the winning design we'll buy from you. We'll be owning it, and then we can go ahead and put it on merchandise, and you can wear a T-shirt that says some profound question, okay, like, how did you determine that your God is real, or something like that? Something kind of atheist light, nothing kind of too much in your face. How did you know that? How did you determine that that's true? And maybe like an SE logo or something on it. So I'm really excited about that. Vincent DePorter is managing that project. He'll be putting an announcement out pretty soon, and that should be pretty cool to be able to finally have sort of a look and feel.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, me too.
What about David Smalley joined the group, right?
What's your thought on that, Reid?
I listened to that clip of him ask a few SE type questions on his latest interview or podcast, and I think it would help him a lot. Like he said, like that was the longest pause he had ever let happen on his podcast before. And a bunch of people were like wondering if their podcast player had broken.
That's exactly perfect. That's what you want.
And
That
he
was
mentioned that he shouldn't have let him off the hook. He should have like continued on that same line of questioning how he determined.
Well, the fact that he let the pause happen was, I think, good enough. I mean,
yeah, that speaks for itself. The pause.
The episode that we're talking about here looks like it's episode 331, Christian Listener versus David Smalley. Yeah, and when I listened to it, I was really excited because he was asking his God-believing guest where he was in terms of his confidence that the belief was true on a scale. He allowed him plenty of time to answer the questions, and there was a super long pause, like you mentioned. And David, I noticed, kept revisiting the scale too. And then on top of that, David joined the private Street Epistemology Facebook group, which is really great to see. He's been out there in the atheist community discussing things with believers all the time, and to see somebody like him interested in SE was really great. And he was soliciting feedback from people that know SE.
Mhm.
And he said that it's one of the reasons why he came back to Facebook, is so that he could be engaging with people that know this stuff. And that's so encouraging, man.
I'm a big fan of him, and I used to listen to his podcast all the time. Now I just can't. I can't listen to counter apologetics. I just can't.
I can't either. Too much Jesus, I always say.
What's neat to see is David, it seems like he's adapting. It's not just, let me give you the counter apologetic to your apologetic. This is more, and he's always been friendly with his guests and respectful and challenging them. And yet it does seem like it always got back to the apologetics. The other thing that's interesting is, like when you and I, Reid, have a talk, we have maybe 5 or 10 minutes, 15 minutes with a stranger. He's got a whole lot of time to fill.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's going to I would imagine he's going to find his own way to put his spin on it to keep it interesting for his audience. But I think it could be done. I think he's creative enough where he can find that proper mix.
Well, if SE conversations can keep going for pretty long, if you find somebody, and if they turn out short, just have 10 conversations on a podcast or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I remember when I first looked at Anthony's videos right after he interviewed me, and I saw some of these, and I'm like, who wants to watch a 30-minute video about some college kid talking about his religious beliefs? Now, I think it's incredibly interesting. But there is an importance to that length, because we don't want to be so quick to just giving that counter apologetic. Like you said, there is definitely a need for these pauses, for these times of reflection and stuff. I think that was especially important in our conversation. Anthony and I's was 30 minutes, which is on the longer side on some of his videos. And I think that really every minute really counted for that. And it's important to take time with that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, our talk was a little different in that there were two. It was you and your buddy, so that made it a little bit longer.
Yeah,
and then also you asked me questions, so it was more of a back and forth.
And I've noticed a theme with you and Reid's videos that I think that people who do ask questions back tend to come to a change in their belief more so than others. I don't have any hard evidence of that. That's kind of an intuitive, observation, but that's what it seems to me.
Yeah, it might be an indication of their openness to.
Yeah, there's more cognition going on. People are thinking about it a little more, honestly, maybe. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it certainly could be a sign of their interest in the talk, and they're testing the waters a little bit. Oh, here's somebody that doesn't believe what I believe, and how is he coping? How is he managing? He has kids too. How does that all work? Like, how do you raise kids without this belief? So yeah, maybe there's something to that.
Wasn't there another fairly famous personality that joined the group a while back?
Well, Seth Andrews.
Andrews, that's right.
Yeah. Now he's been lurking. I think I haven't checked to see if he's still a member. He probably is. He's been a little busy of late.
I bet.
And there's Aaron Raw. He's trying his best.
Is he still trying, or did he just give up on the SE thing?
I'm not sure, but I'm going to see him this Sunday.
I'm not sure, but listen, I would love to go out and do another day of street epistemology with him.
I'm going to try.
That would be a blast. Yeah.
I'm going to see him this Sunday at an event here in Los Angeles.
Oh yeah, that guy's everywhere, man. He's flying all over the place.
Yeah, it's at Griffith Park where I usually do my conversations, but in a different spot. So I'm going to try to go out and see if he can sit down at my table for a little bit.
Oh my gosh, that would be great.
Let's see. I'm going to try.
That would be great.
See if you can get him to come up with something he believes in quite sincerely. And
yeah, he's just so intimidating.
Yeah, it's
the thing. Yeah, I could say, yeah, Arn's a great guy. I would love to go do SE again with him, or even just hang out with him. I got some great feedback on that day that we went out and we were doing street epistemology together, and a lot of people said that it was better to even watch. It was just, sorry, how should I word this? It was more effective to some people to watch him struggle with it and fall back to his old ways, and they saw how detrimental to the conversation that was. That was more powerful to underscore the importance of SE than to watch an effective SE talk.
So seeing him sort of flip back produced a kind of contrast between the two. That
seeing him basically do SE as best as he could, but then the last talk that he'd had, it was kind of like a debate. It was pretty much argumentative. That people watching that, it just further emphasized that in certain situations, SE might actually be more effective.
I can see that.
But no, I love the fact that he put himself out there and expressed an interest in learning it and gave it his all. He took it seriously. Cool. This wasn't just a jaunt. Like he was really interested in learning it and did his best. And we even cut a couple talks that I felt like let's just leave that on the floor, and that we still had an hour and a half, long video or whatever it was. But no, he's great, and I think he would be good at it. He just like any atheist who has a hard time letting ridiculous claims slide for the benefit of the discussion. It's hard to do. It's hard for me to do. Especially if I talk to a confident believer who's just smug and arrogant and they want to tell me how right they are and how wrong I am. It's very hard to stay in SE mode. It's very, very, very difficult. And it takes time. It takes practice. So I would love to go out and do it again or see you read with him. I think that would be really cool to have him sitting down at your table doing a little SE with somebody.
Totally.
Yeah, you got to try to make that happen if you can.
I'll try.
So what's the general thrust of this podcast? What are we going to try to do with this? What is it we want to accomplish? Or do we know that?
I would like to use it as a way to keep people up to date as far as what's going on with SE, and maybe address some of the topics maybe that come up in the private group that are interesting. So like somebody made a post today. How do you not get frustrated with believers? Something we we're just talking about.
Yeah, that's a common one. Well, we could do things like that. We could just answer common questions or discuss them. We could answer listener questions. We could.
I think we should also talk about some of the technical aspects of SE too.
Yeah.
Like Reid has a different setup than I do. Daniel, I think you were talking about possibly going out and doing something. I think we could talk about the equipment. We can talk about some of the challenges that you might have with the police that might show up because somebody complained that there's a man in the woods with a camera.
Man in the woods with a camera.
I think that could be useful for people who are toying with the idea of initiating talks and recording them.
I would love to discuss kind of the more like psychological elements about it. I'm using tons of idea from moral psychology, and there's just new studies being published like all the time. And I'd love to, if a new study comes out, we could like use our past interviews or current interviews to like demonstrate or try to figure out, does this apply in this way, and could we use this new knowledge? Oh my gosh.
I love that idea. Definitely. Yeah, people say, Anthony, you should go back and you need to study philosophy. No, if I was going to spend my time doing anything, I would go back and study psychology. So any new studies.
Anthony.
What's that? Go ahead.
Yeah, like the philosophy is pretty set. Like that's pretty on solid ground, but the psychology is like very new and like it's always being updated.
Yeah, and the cool thing about us talking about it is we can go out the next day and start implementing things that we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've even picked up on some things that we may have talked about, Reid, or I don't know where I picked it up from, probably from psychologists that are contacting me and giving me suggestions. Like I had a talk with a woman who was teaching her kids that when you see a cardinal, it's a dead relative that's coming back to talk to you. And I shifted the talk to what her life would be like without the belief. Could she still honor her loved ones if she didn't think that a rainbow was her grandmother and a cardinal was her uncle coming back?
That's awesome. Yeah, that's exactly where I would have gone in the same situation.
Yeah. And I don't think I ever would even considered doing that 6 months ago, maybe even 3 months ago. So yeah, feedback like that I think could really help drive these conversations in a more positive direction.
We've got a list of possible topics to discuss, and could probably ask listeners to supply more, and might maybe get a feeling for what kinds of things they would like to see us talk about.
I have the chat up on my phone on the side here, and I see some people asking some pretty good questions too, if you ever want to do that.
Can we save that off or record that somehow?
I don't know. I think with the live chats for YouTube, they disappear once the.
You could probably screenshot it from your device.
Once it's done, you can like copy all of the text before you close the window. Like you can go all the way back up to the top and just paste it into a document.
Okay, that'd be cool. We did do a little preparation before this broadcast, so we created a document, the four of us, and we jotted down some ideas. I can run through them real quick. The pros and cons of in-person versus online chat. Daniel's experience came up. Are we making a difference? How to keep calm. Tips for filming people in public. Why this is important to us. I think that could be, we might even want to end on that. That might be a good one to cover today. How much to disclose to your interlocutor. That could be a whole show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When is the best time to end a talk? the apologist community's reaction to street epistemology. That could be a couple talks probably right there.
Yes.
The future of street epistemology, defenses against street epistemology, what constitutes a street epistemology success, what constitutes a failure, are there ethics related to street epistemology, and street epistemology beyond religious topics. And that's just a short list. I mean, I could probably come up with 50 more things to add to that.
And you also mentioned people that we would be interested in challenging them to try street epistemology. Is that right? Is that how you want to do it, Anthony?
Challenge people to do street. I mean, I always want to encourage people to try it.
You mentioned specific people that we wanted to mention. Street epistemology.
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, well, that was an idea that I threw out. Okay, I guess we can get into that, unless you guys had something you want to talk about.
It's fine. I could talk about any of these things.
Okay. So my idea for something we can talk about was, what person do you think would be really good at street epistemology that you would like to see using it?
Well, this was the one where I immediately thought of two people, and now I can't think of either one.
So we'll come back to you.
Okay.
So Daniel, you brought it up, so you must have somebody on your mind.
I did. There's a guy on YouTube. His name is Cosmic Skeptic.
That was one of mine. So
yes, he's around my age. Lives in the UK. I can't remember his full name. It's Alex something. And he's got. Last time I checked, he had
Alex
80.
O'Connor.
Alex O'Connor. Yes.
I thought Reid was Cosmic Skeptic. They kind of.
They look a lot alike, actually.
He had
bit.
like 80,000 subscribers last time. I think he probably has more than that now. So he's pretty
Super good.
for someone his age, and he has this
I
really.
just heard. By the way, I just heard a crunching noise or something. I don't know, pretzels maybe. Yeah.
Joe?
What is that? There we go. He's muted.
Joe
Okay.
said something.
If I don't say something, it's going to drive me crazy. Okay.
Okay. I think it's the cat here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be your mic hitting your jacket too.
Anyway, he has just some really impressive videos. He's already done talks on radio shows. He's done a presentation in New Mexico, I think, and he did an interview with Lawrence Krauss. So he's.
I saw him do an interview with Justin Brierley or Jason Brierley, and I was just terribly impressed with him.
Yeah,
he was great.
I think he would be a great person to try street epistemology with. I think he would find a lot of success with the method. So.
Yeah, I think he'd be awesome. How about you, Reid?
I remember my other guy. So when you're.
Okay.
Go ahead, Joe, real quick.
Oh, okay. The other one I think would be great would be this Michael Marshall, who's the co-organizer of QED. He's Is he
speaking?
He is
he one of the
speaking at
speakers?
QED. Yes.
Okay.
He's on the Skeptics with a K podcast. He also does the
yeah.
Be Reasonable podcast, and that's the main reason why I think he'd be good at it, because on Be Reasonable, he basically just invites one person for each episode who has some unusual belief and just sits there and talks to them in a very reasonable and respectful manner, talks to them about, like the last one he was talking to, this conspiracy theory lady. She literally believed that in all of the lizards, the 9/11 conspiracy, every single one of them, she bought into, and he just talks to them, tries to get an understanding for what they believe and all that. It's so close to being SE. It just makes me want to go just a little bit further. Don't ask that one. Ask this question just a little bit differently, and you're right there. So I think he would be fantastic. And he's got a fairly significant following. So that's my other guy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. My number one is Joe Rogan. He's having 3-hour conversations like every weekday. So if he did it for even 20 minutes with each guest, that would be huge.
Yes, because maybe his guests would notice that they look at the entire broadcast and recognize, wow, he was really productive when he was doing that type of questioning, but then it all went off the rails.
Mhm.
Kind of like back to the whole Arn thing. You get the comparison of really, really smooth and effective, and then this sort of battle.
Yeah, someone mentioned Tracy Harris in the chat just now, and she shared one of my videos a couple weeks ago, and I've been chatting with her a bit on
Oh, good.
Facebook.
Okay,
So,
good.
she might also. I don't want to say anything, but just be on the lookout for that with Tracy Harris. Also, Sam Harris, he has a great podcast, and I would love to see that.
Oh man,
Like, that's the number one, I think.
yeah. Okay. I forgot. Yeah, I guess I would change mine. I wasn't thinking Sam Harris, but when I saw him struggle with Scott Adams on his
Yeah.
podcast, or
Even
Peterson, holy
Jordan
crap!
Peterson.
I was like, please, somebody break through the noise and tell him about street epistemology. I think it would dramatically improve his interviewing and reduce frustration and help people. So yeah, okay, yeah, Harris would be a big one. I was thinking kind of along the lines of atheist experience, but I was thinking of this might be somewhat controversial. Is Matt Dillahunty's wife is on the Godless, what is it called? Godless Bitches podcast.
Is that still happening?
I don't know if that's still happening or not.
I
I
think
don't think I've seen a new one in a long time. But I know Matt has mentioned on several occasions that she would give him some grief for pointing out the fallacies when he's talking to believers. And that got me thinking that is exactly what we try to do when we're using street epistemology. We recognize that there is a fallacy being used, but we also understand that pointing out that somebody's using a fallacy is not going to be helpful. So I think she understands some of the main concepts behind SE, and I think she's a personable person, and I think it would be really interesting to see her using SE at some point.
Mm-hmm. So if anyone in the comments, in the chat, has connections to any of these people, let them know that we're thinking about them, and we'd be interested in talking to them.
Thank you, Daniel.
Sam Harris is going to be so excited when he finds out that the four of us want to hear from him. He would be fantastic, though. Just, man, he is so good. Just imagine if he was doing SE. He would just...
Yeah, and he doesn't have to do his whole show. It could be like the David Smalley thing we talked about. It could be a mixture of it.
Yeah.
But he would be capable enough of shifting gears and going in hard when you needed to, and also pulling it back and trying the more Socratic approach.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Next thing.
Next topic.
Let's go.
Yeah, Daniel's excited.
Do you want to take one question from the audience, and then maybe we can end on why this is important to us?
Sure.
Okay. Who's watching the chat? Is that you, Daniel?
Yeah. So you just find any question I want? Is that...
How many people are watching live right now?
75. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you have a question, go ahead and put it in the chat. I'll take a look at some of the other ones.
There was one before that I saw. I was like, what are some of the prominent atheist public figures and what they think of SE? Has anyone mentioned it? Like, I know Matt Dillahunty, and David Smalley talked about it, like with his talk with Sam Harris, and who else? Like just recently.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so yeah, Sam Harris and Sarah Hayter were on stage with David Smalley, and somebody said that David Smalley mentioned street epistemology during a Q&A, I think, and maybe talked about it for a minute.
Oh, I gotta hear that.
I know, right? I totally want to hear that too.
I think Sam Harris's blog had a posting that said something. It was something about street epistemology.
Well, he interviewed Peter Boghossian years ago.
But maybe
that
that's
was
what it was.
2013, you guys. I mean, come on. It's about. I think we're due for another introduction. Yeah. Oh, the Joe Rogan thing. I think that would be great. I think he'd be out. I wanted to weigh in on that. I think he would be. I don't know if he would be able to stick to it.
Yeah. Does he really have the personality to?
I don't know if he has the tolerance that he could stay in SE mode for very long. But he should definitely learn about it. I think I think it would be great to be able to talk to Street Epistemology on that show. I think that would be awesome.
So here's a quick question. It was the first one I see here. How often do you get footage that is unusable because people say they don't want to be a part of it or want it to go online?
I'm wheeling and dealing all the time. So I try to work out the details before we even film. Because if somebody says, no, we can have the discussion, but don't use my face. You can use audio only. I might even just say, well, that's okay. I think if it's okay with you, I'll just move on to somebody else, because the next person is going to probably say, go ahead and record me. But it happens enough where I'm usually negotiating with them to a certain extent. Maybe 1 out of 4 times, out of the 4 times somebody agrees to be interviewed, 1 time they make an issue out of being recorded. And I have to negotiate, blur their face, or point the camera down at our shoes or something.
Well,
Do you
for
ever
me,
Do you get them where they just afterwards they say, I've changed my mind, I just don't want it, and you just have to discard it and not use it?
It's happened a couple times, but not that much.
Not very often.
Maybe because I try to work that stuff out beforehand.
Okay.
But
it's
that
super hard
sucks.
with me.
That sucks when people, if I could just finish this one point,
Sure.
people that I've talked to in college are now starting to graduate, and they're looking for jobs, and they're sort of scouring social media to see what might be harmful. And so I have had a few people reach out, and I've had to take some great videos down because the person asked me to. And I've hey, can I put a blur on it? Could I beep out your name? No. Well, I'm not going to be an idiot and be a jerk about it and leave it up. I take it down, and it hurts because some of them are very, very good examples.
What about even just the transcript? Can you get them to
Okay, so yes, there was one time where I had this great talk with a person, didn't want to be filmed, didn't want to do audio only, but she did agree to have a transcript done. So we're in the process of having a volunteer transcript, do a transcript of it.
Wow. For me, it's very rare because my cameras and microphones are very obvious. And I usually just sit there and let people come up to me. So it's really just a good selection of people. If they sit down, they're willing to be recorded.
They know they're going to be on a screen somewhere, right?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
And I make sure as well.
It's
It's
implied.
very rare.
Yeah, I try to spell it out too. Like, can I have your permission to record this? And then I like to get them saying that on the camera, on the recording. I'm recording their feet, their shoes, but I like to have a video, audio of them saying that they agree to it. This is an interesting topic because if we want other people to start recording their talks and submitting them, possibly for some large entity that has a lot of subscribers that is just looking for content, this is a challenge that I think we'll have to work out, so that if somebody's going out for their first time in Chicago to film a talk, they have an idea of what the protocol is, that what we would need in order to take their content and edit it and distribute it and not have to deal with a lawsuit or being forced to take it down. I'm not sure what the legalities are. It probably varies from state to state and likely varies from country to country.
Yeah.
And it gets complicated too when you start monetizing. That's one of the reasons why I don't monetize. People tell me all the time, how come, what's the link to your Patreon? How come you're not monetizing your YouTube channel? And the main reason why I don't do that is because it's my understanding that by doing so, I would need to compensate people for their interview, give them a Starbucks gift card or pay them $100 or something, or maybe even $1, I don't know.
Or get them to sign some kind of release.
Plus get them to sign a release. That's my current understanding. And it's I don't know, it's just easier for me to just get verbal consent. I throw it on my YouTube channel, and that's good enough for me.
All those laws are very tied to traditional media like TV and movies. With YouTube, it's kind of like the Wild West. There's so much content going up every day.
Yeah.
It's just...
I did have one person get really mad that I uploaded the video. I think she knew I was recording it, but didn't realize that I'd be posting it. And she just got really just angry. And and I ended up taking the video down. But it was like she was ready to go nuclear. You know, I'm going to tell people where you live and what your wife does and what your kids go to school and all this crap. So you have to be sensitive to that. You have to be careful. So yeah, be very clear about what you're doing and how you plan on using the footage.
When I give them my card, I have like my social media and my YouTube channel right on it. So, and
See,
people
I don't do that. I don't do that because I don't want people to see their video right away. And that's kind of funny saying that because we got Daniel right here on the show. But no, I mean, I think it's harder if I have a talk with somebody and I know that there's a good chance that I'm going to see them tomorrow, and they've just watched their video, and they've watched 50 people slam them. It's going to make it harder for me to have a second, third, and fourth talk.
Yeah.
So I do want to wait. I want to delay that as much as possible. It's not that I don't want them to ever see it, but I want at least a month to pass, ideally.
I'm not in a spot consistently enough to expect multiple conversations at this point.
Yeah, that's true. You are.
Yeah, those comments are brutal, man. It was.
I've never read any of them. What are they like?
Well, hey, let's give a little background first. Like, so people may not know, Daniel was somebody that I ended up talking to a couple years ago, and now he's here as a non-believer and learning street epistemology. So he knows firsthand what it's like to be interviewed, to see your video online, and to read the comments about the discussion.
Yeah, they're pretty bad, huh?
It sucks. It's like you realize suddenly you are just one video on a playlist of videos of other people who are, in a sense, all being made fun of, in a sense, being looked down upon in this context. At least that was my perception of it, because it was my beliefs that were being attacked, right? I want to say attacked, examined, right? It wasn't the other way around. Mm-hmm. And I'm in the same playlist as the guy who believes in karma, or the guy who believes that Allah exists. Where at the time, for me, very different concepts. As an atheist now, a lot of that falls into the same umbrella. But for someone who is much more sensitive about their beliefs and hadn't examined that as critically before, it was kind of a shock. And to see people talk about you and talk about what your experience is and how you were and how you must have gotten to this point, is a bit dehumanizing. It's a bit cruel. And in some cases they could be right. I believe that I was indoctrinated, but it's for me to say that. It's not for somebody else to say that about my experiences, right? So
can those comments be turned off so that people can't comment on them?
You can, and you can turn them off per video too. And that's another negotiating tool that you can use. If somebody says, you need to blur my face and I just can't stand to read the comments, you can turn off the comments on them.
Yeah, that's just cruel.
Yeah, that's kind of. Did you notice that I started adding a little warning, like a thing at the end of the videos to give people a heads up?
Yeah,
there's a chance that the person that you just watched might be reading your comments, so please take that into consideration.
I should add something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not like all the comments were like that, but
you remember the bad ones, is that it?
You remember the bad ones, right? Because the ones that aren't good are mostly either praising you or just being very respectful towards me. But you can tell that they don't buy what I'm saying, right? So, you still got that bit of doubt.
That's a delicate thing that we are always having to deal with, isn't it? The fine edge between are we debating, are we fighting, are we turning people into atheists, or are we really just trying to be respectful and learn things? It's like people expect us to be fighting them, and even when we don't think we are, they get that impression, right? This is where most of these guys who are posting critical blog posts about us, they watch out for the SEs, they're coming after you. And it's like, well, we don't think we're really coming after you, but they perceive it as a threat. And
Yeah, I've heard some reports of believers playing examples of street epistemology in their churches now.
Yeah.
Have you heard of any of that, Reid?
No, I mean I've seen the one. What was it McGrew like years
Yeah,
ago?
they were doing it. I think they were showing them in there.
Yeah, I've heard 2 or 3 times now, not even including that, of people reporting that they were either in an instance where that was happening or their friend told them about it. This is all circumstantial. I don't know if it's really true, but that's interesting.
If I was in that church, that would probably backfire on like the people who were showing it. Like I would be thinking about these questions. So that's fine with me.
That's the thing.
I think they.
Yeah.
I think they would take probably videos out of context and show really bad reasons why people believe things and be like, no, this is why you should believe it. You know, I can see where that could be a thing.
Oh, maybe they're selective in what they show.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's true. I guess it depends on what example they're showing. If they showed an example where it was from me 3.5 years ago, it could probably be quite effective in showing how horrible we are. But if they showed a recent one and they played it in full, I think I sided with Reid on this. I think it would be very compelling. I would be thinking about that talk that I just watched and be like, I have no way that I would have answered that the same way that person did, or how would my kids answer that? And that was a good question. How do I know that that's true? I think they should show all the videos they want. I just hope that they show them the recent ones and end to end. That would be my requirement.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's nothing stopping them from showing a very crude one, either myself or somebody else has done.
Yeah, and that guy who like befriended the black guy who befriended KKK members did a Reddit AMA.
Daryl Davis.
A couple of days ago, yeah, Daryl Davis.
Mm-hmm.
And something he said really stuck with me. I don't know the exact phrase, but he's saying like, even just us sitting there listening politely, that's like a passive way of showing who we are.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's like a
yes.
It's a demonstration in and of itself.
Fully agree.
And it's even if you didn't say anything, it's progress because at least you're hearing the other side, right?
That's why I tell people who say this would never be in my nature. I could never do street epistemology. And my advice is just try to have a conversation where you're listening to somebody and you're hearing them out and you're being respectful and you thank them for their time and then you let them go. Because just asking somebody, what do you believe and why, and how can you be so sure, and hearing them out and then just letting them explain it, that in itself could cause doubt in the person who's doing the explanation.
Sure, because if they have to enunciate those beliefs, if they have to say them out loud, they have to hear that, and they hear it. It sounds different when it's out loud to another person.
And if you can be respectful while you're hearing them out, it's harder to. I've said this before. It's harder to dismiss an atheist who is polite.
Mm-hmm.
We make it really easy for people to dismiss us when we're assholes.
Yes, I actually think that's one of the biggest problems we have right now, and the main reason why SE is important, because it's the one single focused part of the atheist movement that goes in direct conflict to the stereotype, and that stereotype is killing us because people are constantly being jerks.
But people still do find issues with this SE approach.
Okay, but there can't possibly be as many, right?
Well, let me say this.
Go ahead.
When I first met Anthony, he did change my perception of what atheists were like.
Yes.
Okay, because the ones that I had met before were the guys who did all the counter apologetics and who were generally just not pleasant people to be around. They just weren't. And when I met Anthony and I started questioning, like, so like you're really an atheist? Like there was a part of me that was like, oh, okay, so he's having this conversation with me. He hasn't,
and he's not a dick yet.
Yeah,
see, that's
he hasn't even talked about the Bible. hasn't even brought it up, and yet he's already dismantling my beliefs somehow in this way that
Right. I think it's a huge thing. I really think that stereotype is widespread. And just listening to Daniel just now, he was essentially startled. You right? Am I paraphrasing?
Yeah.
You were startled that you were not an idiot or an asshole to you, right?
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
You know, that's one reason why I really like the SE approach in particular. One, because I'm biased and it helped me a lot. But two, because that is the number one issue I see is the PR, right? It is the public reception. It's not that people don't know. There's a lot of people that don't know what atheism is. But the ones that do know, they have that perception in their minds.
It's that stereotype. It's killing us.
It's been that way for a long time. And not to dismantle the work of Christopher Hitchens or anybody like that who do take that more polemic approach. I'm not saying that's not important, but it's not the only thing that we could be doing. And so I think that's why there needs to be a rise of SE in more of these kinds of conversations. Because it's just so helpful.
Yeah, I think it's bigger than the atheism movement at this point, or it has the potential to be. Like, I don't even see it as an atheist thing anymore.
It's not. I mean, I had a freaking talk with somebody about believing that a bird, a dead relative comes back as a bird. This is about identifying reliable ways to come to our beliefs, and it doesn't have to be about God. It could be about anything. And that's what's so exciting about this, is that it's improving discourse, and it's helping people abandon beliefs that are not true. I mean, nothing. I cannot think of anything more important than that. What is more important than that? So that's why I pour as much time and effort into this, because I think it's so key. And I get a lot of messages from people, probably just as many messages from atheists who say, you are showing me a better way of talking to believers. I get as many messages that say that as I do from people who say, I was a believer, I was watching your material, and I started asking myself these same questions, and I'm no longer a believer. So I'm getting a kind of an even mix of that. And I'm not sure what's more exciting. I'm almost more excited to see the improved discourse.
Totally.
I really think that's if not the highest, the almost the highest or most important thing about this is we are changing the perception. This SE changes the stereotype.
Right, but I don't know if you were going to get to this, Reid, but there are people who think that the SE approach is sneaky, and they would much rather, I've heard people report that they would much rather see an argumentative atheist who's using counter-apologetics instead of being sneaky.
Maybe
that's a whole episode right there.
Just opened up a big old can of worms there.
Well,
I think it's worth noting that this is not like a resounding, this is the best way ever, because there are still complaints about it.
Yeah, it's not that those methods aren't useful. It's that we don't see enough of the SE method, I think, as much as we should, compared to these other methods, right? The balance isn't quite there, I don't think. But
you think if more people were using SE, there'd be less complaints about it being sneaky?
No, I mean, so like somebody may be convinced more by, or maybe convinced that approach is better, the counter-apologetics approach, but if they don't have the option, if they don't have, other ways of doing it, then...
Well, here's what's interesting. The people that I've heard say that they prefer the direct counter-apologetic approach are the apologists who give the apologetics.
That makes some sense, because that's what they're used to. That's what they're equipped for, right?
Yeah.
So that's why they
okay, so that's the believing side. I have also seen a small percentage of atheists who don't like the SE approach and prefer the counter-apologetic approach. And it just so happens that they excel in that, and they've given lots of debates, and they're very good at it.
Okay.
So I have to wonder if some of the resistance is coming from, well, this is pushing me outside of my comfort zone. I don't understand why we don't attack their facts with our facts.
Mm-hmm.
It all comes down to the science for me. We need to go where the science takes us.
Yeah.
It comes
I've
down
heard
to.
the
Go ahead.
And I'm
Oh, I was
including
gonna-
and I'm including psychology when I say science, by the way.
Well, I've just heard the complaint that you're kind of sneaking up on believers and swiping away their beliefs from underneath them and like kind of confusing them almost. And I would say, like, isn't that a good thing? Like, wouldn't you rather have people believe on better reasons than before? And it's not like that they're just going to completely abandon their beliefs. That's not what I did. I tried to look for better ways to justify my beliefs. And when I found that I couldn't do that, that's when I made that transition. But it wasn't an immediate thing either.
That's like saying that it's sneaky for the child to go up to the king and say, "You're naked." Is that sneaky? It's just obvious. You know,
Yeah, I think the terms of theism are just the wrong terms when speaking about a concept of a god. Like if someone who believes in like chakras feels that they're sick and they're like, well, my chakras are out of alignment. Like, how do I fix my chakras? You don't speak with them in terms of chakras. You speak with them in the correct terms.
Yeah. Yeah.
it's all about critical thinking for me, not really religion. That just happens to be a big area.
I think it gives people a language to use to examine their beliefs that they didn't have before. A way of talking about their beliefs that most church-going people wouldn't be comfortable talking about. Right? They wouldn't consider their belief in God to be on the same level as a belief in karma. But how do you epistemically justify between the two? Right? You know, on that sense, they're on the same scale. Right.
I think there are some things that we can do prior to having a talk that we're initiating to alert people as to what we're doing. So I try to explain that. I say, you know, I want to pick a belief that you really think is true. It's tied to your identity. It motivates you to behave differently. And I'm going to ask you questions. I'm going to respectfully challenge what you believe. And sometimes people are less confident. And I'm always experimenting and trying something different. And some people say you're going too far. You're over explaining what you're doing. You don't need to do all that. So I don't know what the right balance is.
I don't
know if we can make everybody happy, even if we completely explained specifically what can likely happen. Yeah. The act of doing that could make a person too defensive to actually accomplish what you're hoping to accomplish, which is helping the person.
Maybe, but I still don't see. I still would like somebody to at least try this just to see what happens. Just come right out and say, "Hi, I'm into a thing called street epistemology. It's about having Socratic discussions. It's just completely upfront about what you're doing."
I do that at the end sometimes.
Yeah, I usually do. I've been starting to do that. I don't upload every video, so you probably don't see some of that. But
is it not working? Is it working worse than just
people are interested when I mention it?
Because that's where all the sneakiness comes from, or the claims of sneakiness. You know,
I don't hide behind the term at all.
Yeah, I mean, we probably should start advertising it because there's nothing to hide about it. And I would want them to look up street epistemology. I want James to study street epistemology so that when he runs into his friend who's a Jehovah's Witness that wants him to join, that he's going to be adequately prepared to challenge his friend to see why he thinks it's true. So yeah, I want to promote it, even to the person that I'm talking to that I might be challenging their belief on.
We need some T-shirts.
Logos first.
Logos first.
Yeah. Logo design first, where that's coming. And then we'll get some T-shirts and we can get a little bit of income to cover some of our expenses.
I think we're over time, guys.
How long have we been going for here?
Wrap it up or keep going?
I have until 10 o'clock and I got to be out of here. So
that's 17 minutes.
I'm free.
You want to take one more question?
Yeah, let's take a question or something.
Okay.
What do we want to end on? Why is SE important to you, or did we cover that pretty much already?
We've probably touched on it some.
Kind of covered it.
Yeah.
Maybe why we choose SE over other methods. No, we talked about that too. Never mind.
Yeah.
We totally talked about that.
There will be details on the logo in the private Street Epistemology Facebook group and on Twitter. The project manager is putting together a document that will outline everything, the deadlines, the formats that we need, things to consider. And this could be your chance to create a logo that will be used for something really, really important, really interesting.
How about this question? Are we making a difference? Are we? Well, made a difference to him.
I think we are.
So I guess we've answered the question. Next question.
I think it's pretty apparent that we're making a difference. This method is getting noticed by people regardless of where they stand on a particular claim, and I think it's very hard to find faults with it. I think there are some things that we can work on, but it's. I mean, you can see the videos, you can see the examples.
It feels like when you're doing it, you're making a difference. You know, when someone responds with a long pause and, oh, wow, I hadn't really thought of it. I mean, that feels like you've accomplished something.
It feels great. It feels great.
Yeah, that's my metric.
Yeah, you're planting seeds, to use a Christian turn of phrase.
Planting seeds.
Yeah, if I get someone to say, "Oh, I haven't thought about that," then that's made my day. Like I've
yeah, and that's another question. You know, what is an SE success and what is a failure? Personally, if I just get the pause or an I never thought about it that way. I think I could figure myself. I've already won. I've succeeded. I've done what I wanted to do. Anything else after that, you know, is just, you know, pleasant chit chat, and I'm okay. If they want to keep talking, you know, about that, I will. But
yeah, if somebody's 100% sure that their belief is true, and you get a couple I don't knows out of them in a 10-minute talk,
because that's where things change in their brain.
That's incongruent. There, you can't be certain but be unable to answer certain things. Now, it may be that you're just unprepared to give the answer, and there really is an answer. It doesn't mean that your belief isn't true if you can't explain or you're unable to give a reliable justification for it. Your beliefs could still be true. But that generally starts people on a journey to try to figure it out.
Yeah, I see that as the magic moment where they've stopped believing it for some reason that corresponds to a need that they have, some kind of emotional need or you know, personal. I can't live unless I have this thing in my life. It switches from where they're just believing it for that reason to engaging their brain, their logic circuits, and that they're going to engage their logic circuits. All of a sudden, it looks different when they look at it that way, and that's all you need to do is get them thinking about that.
And the more people that know this method, the likelihood that that person runs into somebody else that can keep the conversation going, keep them thinking about it, the better.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the idea of the 10,000, right?
Yeah.
We're already 4% of the way. Woohoo!
Yeah, that's a good opportunity to remind people.
We only have to do that 25 more times.
If you go to streetepistemology.com, you can create an account and you can indicate your location and what name you want to have show up on the map.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Boghossian, when he wrote his book, is hoping for 10,000 people to learn this method and apply it. And he thought that if we can get 10,000 people to learn this and use it, it can make a real difference in the world. And it seems like we're heading there. It's
yeah.
This seems good. This seems.
Why isn't Peter on that map? That's what I want to know. Shouldn't he be on there?
That's a good question.
I think I'm on there.
Jot that down, huh?
I don't remember if I went through the whole process.
Is Reid on it?
I am, yeah.
Sure. Daniel, are you on it?
I think so.
Okay.
I remember signing my name somewhere.
Yeah, everybody please sign up. If you're in the Facebook group or any of the groups, you know, for that matter, please sign up to that, because the number of people who are on that map is clearly a small subset of all the people out there.
And there will be some advantages to creating an account eventually. We plan on eventually adding a forum to the website. There might be a way for you to let people know in your general area if some event is happening, like a protest, or someone's giving a talk on SE. You could just very quickly, we could actually customize an email to let people know that certain things are happening. So yeah, the more people that are on that, I think the better.
Yeah. There's also the Street Epistemology subreddit, which is pretty good, and the
Mhm.
Discord server is pretty new.
We have a subreddit.
What is Discord exactly? Is it text based?
It was an app for gamers to like voice chat while they play a game, but it's kind of evolved into just like a social media like hub of itself for like voice
Yeah.
chat and text.
It's
text
text and
conversations.
voice chat. So
Is it categorized?
Yeah.
So like if I'm just interested in religion or
Yeah, each
Crystal-
Discord server has its own separate server. So
People make
there's
up
a Street
their own.
Epistemology server.
oh, okay.
I was just
and
on it
video is
today.
coming soon.
Yeah, well, good. I was just on it today and was wandering about, and it very quickly some people started talking to me and asking me some things, and I said something about I was looking for a Street Epistemology channel, and they said, I don't know if there's one of those. There's no way to search, but if you go over here, these guys might know. So they popped me into that one, and I asked there, and somebody had heard about that, and then eventually I came across the one that someone who made ours. Was that you, Reid, or somebody else?
I don't think I made it. No.
I came
think-
across that, and when I got onto the Street Epistemology channel, a bunch of the guys who had been talking to me initially, I dragged in with me, and they came in too.
Okay.
And then I was in a philosophy one, and just starting to. I mean, they're just talking. They have little voice channels. You just connect to the voice channel, and you start talking. And you start hearing them.
I'd like to get the link to that after this. If you can send that to me, that'd be useful.
Sure.
So, voice chat, I think it has some promise to be useful. I'm not a big fan of the text-based.
Someone in the chat, Lezik Nowak, said, well, they're from Poland and they've launched a Polish YouTube live call-in show based on SE, and they use
Oh, really?
Discord to do that.
Sweet.
Oh, yeah.
And
I think
both
that-
on subtitles.
If I'm not mistaken, AXP helped them or gave them some tips or something, maybe.
Oh, nice.
I think so. I think that's the case.
So much new technology.
Yeah,
Feels like things are kind of taking off, doesn't it?
it does. Daniel, you're going to be in Austin this weekend, right? We're going to be hanging out.
Yeah, we are. We're gonna go on that back cruise, boy. It's gonna be lit.
That should be pretty cool. I've done
Chilling
it a
with the
couple times.
Atheist Experience crew, the God Awful Movie Podcast crew, and probably some other people. So, yeah, it's gonna be
Who
cool.
would have
If
thought
you're
that
there,
Austin,
find me.
Texas. Texas is
Yeah.
the place to be for atheists.
It doesn't
Like a little
seem to be-
oasis.
it seems to be a
Like a
hotbed
little-
of atheism.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyway.
So much to talk about there, but we can't.
All right, we got lots of-
We're out of time for that right now.
Yeah, we have lots of topics. I mean, we could make a lot of shows on all this stuff.
Yeah.
it's-
Do you want to like set another time to do the next one, or we'll figure that out?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's figure it out.
Uh,
I think maybe once a month to start, and then we were planning to take the audio from this and then release it as an episode on the SE podcast. I think people will be interested in it. And we probably should come up with some sort of name if we keep doing it.
Yeah, and people give us feedback like if we should like make it more structured. This is pretty casual right now, so some people like to have structure to not waste time, but
Mhm.
whatever.
A little structure maybe, but not too much. Like,
Mhm.
News, chit chat, and questions or something. Questions from the
Yeah.
crowd.
Anthony likes to play it loose.
I like to play it loose, man. To give people what they want. Listen, just figure out what people are asking for and try to give it to them.
Okay, I think they turned off all the lights in this library, and I don't know if they know that I'm in here. So I'm gonna go.
Probably a good time to wrap it up.
Oh, I would love
Yeah.
to be locked in the library. How about third Thursday of every month then?
I think maybe that might work.
Okay.
We'll have to see. I've got weird schedules.
I mean, I'd love for it to be weekly at some point, but yeah, it's fine.
Bi-weekly might be fun too. Okay.
All
Well,
right, guys.
it's been fun.
That was great.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and end this, and then we'll convert it to an episode, and we'll let people know if we decide to schedule another one. Give us some feedback. Let us know if you like this, what you hated about it, what you liked about it, And be sure to check out Reid's channel as well. He just uploaded a new video, Cordial Curiosity.
Yeah, I'll try and
And
have at least one up for the next few days, each day.
that's good.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't turn them around that quickly.
You're
I'm
so
gonna
good.
try to get one out tomorrow.
All right.
All right.
Good
Talk
night,
to you
everybody.
later,
Thanks
guys.
for watching.
Peace.
Thanks everybody for watching.
Bye.
See ya.